Aaron, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, man. It's been 3 years, and every week I have to try to come up with something to say at the very beginning of the podcast. I'm just like, I've done everything.
You've done it all. Said it all.
Surprise! It's a podcast. Welcome to the Rain Select podcast. It's time for the podcast. It's like at a certain point, I'm still excited to do a podcast every week. But at a certain point, it's just kind of like, well, what can you say that hasn't been said before? You just start out by insulting your. Hey, sit down and shut up! It's time for the podcast, you motherfuckers. We're on Rain Select.
It's time for the Rain Select podcast.
That's right. I hate everything. So, welcome everybody to the Rain Select podcast. I am Jeff.
I'm Aaron,
and Aaron is here with me. Aaron, it's been. Let's see. You and I we did some dojos, but it's been a while since you've been on the podcast.
Yeah, it's. I don't even remember what was going on the last time I did the podcast.
I
think it was that dumb guy got he badmouthed.
Oh,
Steam.
Gabe Newell. He said he's going to murder Gabe Newell.
Yeah. That was the last time I did the podcast.
That was a while back. Well, so here's the thing. Before we get started, we've actually got a fair amount of news this week. Like I was going through, looking at the news, and I got to the. Like, there's always this time when I'm trying to parse news for the show, and I'm always, like, getting down to the last 2 pages, and I'm just like, I've got these 2 bullshit stories.
Flip a coin.
Right. And then, of course, the last 2 days before we record the podcast are just full of interesting news.
Yeah.
But before we get started, it's been a while since you've been on, and the last couple podcasts I've been asking everybody, do you want to talk about we're in 2015. Have you done a 2014 wrap-up? Have you thought about your favorite games of 2014?
Man.
Take a few minutes here and tell people?
What's bad is I've been playing so many games, I can't really knock down the games, but I got my top 4 2014 movies, if that matters.
Okay, yeah, I'll take anything. I'll take any top 4 beverages of 2011.
Arizona strawberry lemonade. It's delicious.
So much sugar.
Yes, that's all it is.
That Arizona iced tea. I remember. This is another one of my old man syndrome. I remember when Arizona iced tea was actually iced tea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so top 4 movies of 2014.
Top 4 movies of 2014.
All right, lay them on me.
Number 4.
Right.
The Equalizer.
That was a wonderful movie.
Amazing.
Loved it.
Number 3. Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Absolutely incredible.
Number 2. John Wick.
John Wick is fantastic.
And number 1. The Raid 2.
The Raid 2.
Oh, and yes, all 4 movies involve extreme amounts of violence.
From you? Oh, come on. But wait, so you know what? Okay, right. So here's something I find interesting. No Guardians of the Galaxy in that top 4 list. No?
No,
just didn't do it for you.
Well, no, it was a good movie. It just it didn't truly
blow your socks off.
It didn't appeal to me. There's some amazing action, and the comic book fanboys just like, Star-Lord, but
that was how what I did. I was like, and Chris Pratt, he's so dreamy. Star-Lord, take me to the prom. Or
where's Howard the Duck? Stuff like that. But no, it was an amazing year for action, and it just that's what I do. So I was just
you guys heard it here first, right? Aaron hates Guardians of the Galaxy. That's when you take what you just said and you translate it into internet. That's all the people.
Guardians of the Galaxy, this is a bunch of bullshit.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I've got something controversial about your list, right?
Okay.
I saw John Wick.
Okay.
I saw The Equalizer. I liked The Equalizer better.
We had this conversation, and I don't hate you for that because at the same time, you still like both of them.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
But you just and that's what, The Equalizer just came out on Blu-ray, and I've been telling everybody, buy it.
Yeah.
Don't even rent it. Don't wait for it to go on Netflix. Don't go to the dollar theater. Just buy it. It is such a good movie. It's such a good movie.
And I think the thing that I like most about it is because I never watched it's based on a TV show.
Right.
I never watched a TV show. But what I really liked about The Equalizer is that it has a very open end, right?
Yeah.
It
can continue, yeah.
I don't think Denzel Washington, he's never had a franchise,
never
right?
done a sequel.
I think that would be incredible.
It would be awesome. Something I actually read an interview about just the other day because The Equalizer is under Sony and everything. They got threatened if they actually were going to go with Denzel Washington because he was black.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, threatened by who? The internet?
The internet.
Well, he's making quotey figures out. It could be anybody.
The interwebs.
Okay.
Yeah, they said if you decide to go with Denzel Washington, because the original character in the television show was white.
Yeah.
They're like, if you decide to go
British,
with Denzel,
right?
Yeah, something like that. That they were going to. I think it was. They were quoted saying that somebody was going to die. I don't, but I saw that and I was just like, get out of here, man. And then the movie goes and like, this is like #1 at the box office for 2 weeks.
It was
it was so good.
Goddamn. The only issue that I had with kind of both John Wick and The Equalizer to a certain extent was that the Russian mob, they're now the guys.
Yeah.
It's just
we're back to them.
They do whatever they want.
We're back to them.
Oh, those dirty communist bastards are in here drinking our ladies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I tell you what, as far as video games go, you don't have to put any ranking or anything, but like, what were your highlights of last year? I mean, I think Destiny probably has to be on the list.
Yeah.
You're the person that I know that's still playing.
Just hit 30, by the way, which is
last
sad.
week you gave me this whole spiel about how you didn't care about it.
I didn't care, but then I was just like, wait, I can upgrade my helmet. I'm 30. Wow. And so now I'm stuck at 30, and I don't really care if I get 31 or 32. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Destiny is on the list. I'm still playing Diablo 3. I let my brother borrow it, but I still love that game.
I mean, but you don't play it on the PC, so this is the first time that
this is like,
did you play it when the first console release came out?
Not Diablo 3.
Okay.
Like I played Diablo like
that shitty ass PlayStation 1 port of Diablo?
No, like I'm talking about PC, like on my friend's PC back in high school.
Oh, okay.
Diablo.
Okay.
And so I was just like, what is this? And he's just like, watch. Oh, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I
remember I've said this before, but when Diablo came out and the way that it randomized all the levels, right? And I realized what was happening there. And it was one of those moments you have to look back on in your life and realize how stupid you were. Like, well, I don't need any other video games ever again. It's a different game every time.
It's amazing.
Boom, done. Procedurally, and it only took 15 years for anybody besides Diablo to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. But Destiny, Diablo 3, man, I love the crew.
Yeah.
Like, I just needed a crazy racing game, and
I'm trying to think of the earlier
Ubisoft
stuff.
actually finally did it.
I think that what was it the first? Was it the? Let's see. You were on UFC. That was
UFC
the first one.
Still play that.
I know that you and I talked a while about how we both actually really enjoyed Bound by Flame, in spite of the fact that it was a middleware kind of medium title. I'm trying to think.
I'm still trying to. I'm waiting, but I'm going to get the one we just played. What was it?
Grand Theft Auto 5?
No, the one after that. The crazy. Pull my finger.
Oh, Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior.
I was
going to say Shadow Hearts, so I'm like, that's not the right game.
Unfortunately, it's funny because that game came out in 2012 or 2013.
I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else that might be in that category. But
man,
okay. So here's a question. We played the beta for Halo 5 Guardians.
Okay.
And in the comment section, there was kind of a little bit of Destiny bashing that broke out. And I'm curious, I mean, like, do you... I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this question. I didn't really find the action in Destiny to be deep enough to stick with for a long period of time.
Right.
Is it mostly, do you feel like it's just when you're, all your friends have this game and so you're playing it with your friends, that's more of a draw than the actual gameplay? Like if you're just judging it on the gameplay all by itself,
it's all right.
It's decent. It's functional. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's good.
Yeah.
But that once you add in like a bunch of friends who play it every week and you've got voice comms, that's where it really becomes a fun thing.
That's where and I don't know if Bungie has said this before, but from my experience with it now, that's where the true fun is. Like, when you first got the game, you load it up, you let it do all its installs and stuff like that. And when I had it, I played the shit out of it.
Yeah,
I didn't play with anybody. I was like, I'm doing the story and I'm gunning it. And level 5, I get to do the multiplayer. Fuck that. I'm continuing with the story. I want to see what happens. And then the story ended, and I was just like,
yeah,
okay.
It didn't exactly.
I got a gun.
It didn't exactly wrap up in the way that a lot of Bungie games that I've played that have a big, spectacular, driving a warthog off the edge of an exploding planet, ending.
Yeah. You got to see your character in third-person view talk to some weird robot. Spoilers.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it yet. If you haven't played it yet.
I guess. Oh, no, I wanted to see that robot for myself. I don't even consider it to be by that point.
But the worst thing is you get a gun that is by far one of the weakest guns in the game, and you're like, why did I get this at the end of the game like it's going to be like something special, and it's not.
I think for me, when they gave me that gun, it was better than what I was using, but I was used to using assault rifles, and it was a 3-round burst gun, or it was a burst rifle or whatever, and I was just like, but I don't. But it's more. Oh God! All right, whatever.
Damn it, yeah.
Jesus!
Now I gotta level this one up.
All right. Well, then let's see. Before we move on to news, how about top 3 or 4 games you're looking forward to in 2015? I know people are always asking that. So
man. Okay, I can go with the ones I have pre-ordered right now, and I might list off more than 3.
Okay.
Order 1886.
Right. February. I forgot.
Yes.
It's fucking February,
yes.
Right? Like
Bloodborne.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got
one. Yeah. I'm still on the fence, but the wind is blowing me towards it. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Dude, if you had seen the demo that I'd seen for that game,
I'd be all over it.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
like it's like if a game that was as in depth. Because you ever play The Witcher 2?
No,
it's got a super in depth combat system. But then in the second one, they just had these big areas that you could go through. And I've always said that the second one, like everybody, the year that Witcher 2 came out, I think was like the year, is it Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3? One of the Mass Effects came out. The Witcher 2 is the best game I've ever played that has choice that matters.
Oh, okay.
Because when you there's a prologue, and then you get into Act 1. It's got 3 acts, right? You get into Act 1, and when you end Act 1, you make a choice about what faction you want to go on. And depending on which choice you make, the second act takes place in this giant battlefield with a bunch of ghosts in the middle of it.
Ooh.
And depending on which side you go to, you either go to the free people of Middle Earth's camp over here,
right,
or like the evil empire's camp over here. And so you do all the stuff from this side or from this side. And then when you get up into the third one, at the end of the second act, I believe you have to make a choice about whether somebody's going to die or something like that. And so in the third act, there's actually like 5 or 6 different endings, and they feel very organic.
That's nice.
But in The Witcher 3, I mean, I saw the demo in this, oh God, their air conditioning was busted. It was a super hot room at E3. And it's just like, it's an open world game where you just go all over the place. And they're like, oh, you see those guys? That's a ship, and they're going out to fish. And if it was a rainy day, you wouldn't see that boat out there because the AI would be like, no fishing today. We're going to stay in.
Wow.
And like they had this whole subplot where you had to ride up to this village and it's being terrorized by a demon. And then there's 2 different factions in the village.
I'm ready to kill some werewolves.
It's, well... Between The Order and The Witcher, I think you're going to get your chance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just like, what? And they're all really hard to beat. And I'm like, yeah. I love difficulty.
I think that I was actually talking with Grant yesterday about how, like, Grant was sitting here. We just got done recording, and I was like, yeah, we're looking at the new stuff coming out. I was like, Bloodborne in March. Whoop. He's like, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, wait a minute. How?
What?
How? Well, because Grant only knows what I sit down and make him look at.
Right.
And I was like, how have I not sat here and bent your ear about Bloodborne? So I showed him the trailer. But I think that Bloodborne is going to be great because it's a great jumping on point for people that don't feel like they have to mess with any of the other Souls stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else did we see? I mean, I can't believe that both Dying Light, Grim Fandango, and Saints Row 4 on the PS4 got out of hell.
I did pre-order Dying Light. Mm-hmm. You just reminded me.
Have you played Saints Row 4 before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Get Out of Hell is going to be a little. It's gonna be one of those filler games for me because they're saying it's basically just a glorious upgrade, and I'm like, hey. I need some Saints Row.
All I can say to you is that anybody who has only played Saints Row 4 on the PS3 and Xbox 360, like having played it on the PC, there's such a jump in like draw distance and resolution and all particle effects.
Sweet. And last but not least, Mortal Kombat X. Let's go.
Okay. Any other Tekken 7 next year? Is that?
I don't know.
They had a news story because I don't know if you remember, but there was a news story about they had a God, what the fuck is her name? Kitty Fuckboo or something. It's just like
the new character,
with the cat paws. And then there was a backlash, and then he was like, "All right, well, we won't put it out in America." And everybody, wait.
Yeah, because I know they just revealed the new one of the newest characters, and he's like a Saudi
like sheik. Right?
Yeah, he's like a Saudi character. I'm like, I can't wait to hear what people have to say about this guy. And I was like, geez.
You know what? I kind of like the idea of a developer that starts doing this character release stuff, especially a Japanese developer that just doesn't give a fuck about the American audience.
Yeah.
And when people are like, "Wah!" and you're like, all right, well, we won't put it out in the country. We'll just put it out in the Japanese version because we don't fucking care.
Yeah, and we're going to make a lot of money doing that, so bye.
You might be able to teach fanboys to shut their fucking mouths at that point and be like,
do it.
So what do you think about this guy? What? Nobody?
Nobody at all? I like him.
Yes. All right.
You get an exclusive copy.
Well, speaking of exclusive copies, this is a terrible segue, by the way.
Hey,
we've actually got some news this week, and the first bit of news is something that I've been waiting for. I don't know if you saw this, Aaron, but starting January 13th, PlayStation Now is going to be rolled out as a subscription service.
I love it.
And it's coming first so for those of you who don't know, PlayStation Now is like it's technically based on what the streaming technology they bought from Gaikai.
Yeah.
Same as OnLive, where the game is not being run on your system; it's being run on a server, and your inputs stream back to the server. So it's basically like controlling a stream. Now, I haven't used PlayStation Now.
I was a part of the beta.
So did you play it?
Yeah. I played it extensively.
So when I played OnLive, I played. There was a Red Faction demo, I think, that was exclusive to OnLive, right? And I noticed that there was just enough input lag to make me not want. It was long enough of an input lag where when I hit the button, there was enough of a delay before my character did stuff. In the third-person action game, it just felt real floaty, right? Because there was that stuff. Did you have that in your experience? Did you feel like there was an input lag?
No. The only time I experienced just gut-wrenching problems was when there was a lot of stuff going on my internet connection.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if I was just playing the game, PlayStation Now, I think I played, I was on my PlayStation 3, and I did one of the sniper games.
Okay. Sniper Elite.
It was something like that, because I never played that one. So I was just like, oh, let me play it. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And, like, of course, I looked at it as like Netflix, because when you start up Netflix, there's always like the little grainy,
right?
And then once it like
snaps in,
and you're like, "Whoa, that's gorgeous!" And it was the same way. It was like in the opening sequence in the start menu, it was a little grainy, but once the game started, I was just like, it's caught up, it's up to speed, it's warmed up. Here we go. And then my girlfriend got on her laptop and she was like searching a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, what's going on with the game? And I was like, no, stop
searching.
Because during the beta, what would happen is if your internet connection got too bad, it would just stop, because there's no reason for us to try to do this right now.
Unplayable at
and
this
so
point.
I did it on the PlayStation 3. I did it on my PlayStation 4, and I almost did it on the Vita, the PlayStation Now stuff. But I'm excited because I look at it as Netflix for video games. And
the other thing that I hadn't found was when I went to go look at it, I thought about trying it out, but when I looked at what they were charging in that beta, it was insane.
Stupid. It was so stupid. And actually, after the beta stopped and then they rolled out the prices, I even sent them an email. I was just like, I'm going to discontinue my beta because I'm not going to pay any of this.
Well, let's see this. This is an example from this is an article on Joystick. So, for example, Vigil Games Darksiders was $3 for 4 hours, $6 for a week, and $8 for 30 days, $15 for 90 days. I think that okay. So the way that they're looking at here is 1 month for $20 a month, or you can buy 3 months for $45, which is $15 a month.
Right.
And I think that what's the most incredible thing about this that I didn't really understand is I think I looked through some of it, but like there's a lot of PlayStation games in here. for $20 a month, I'd totally be like, this is probably, well, no, I can't. I was going to say, this is going to solve my Sunday streaming problems. I can't exactly stream live video and be streaming.
That's not going to be a little hard.
But like, there's a hell of a lot of good games on here, especially if all 3 of the Infamous games are on here. Kane and Lynch 2, obviously a classic that we all remember. Fuck that game. But I mean, there's enough here that I'd rather be spending $20 a month to have the ability to pull up any one of these games, especially if you weren't like super into the PlayStation 3 era. Like this would be perfect for somebody that had an Xbox and then flips over, right, to get access to all this stuff. But it looks like an incredibly large list.
Yeah, they just that's the thing I actually do love. Like during the beta, I was just like, oh, let me see what games it. And all the games in the beta were trash. They were the games that they were just like, we're just testing it out here, guys. Right. We're not going to really put any like amazing things on there until it started. After the beta finished, I remember one of the games that they put on there was Super Street Fighter 4, Ultra Super Street Fighter 4, and I was just like, okay. That's going to be – I wanted to try it out. It would be a really good test because, it's fast twitch.
Right.
It's fighting games. Yeah. And so, but I looked at some of the lists and I was just like, they really opened up the library. And they were just like, you know what? Some of these games that you can't find anywhere in a store and you'd have to like pay actually a pretty good chunk of money for, like if you like got it off of Amazon or something, it's like right there. But also at the same time, some of those games, I think they have to be smart because they're still doing the PlayStation Plus like free game every month, and so
I feel like me and PlayStation Plus have a similar problem where it's like there's a guy that I feel like is Jeff at Sony, right? And every month they're like, all right, well, what free game we're gonna put on? He's like, there's only 4 games left, and they just came out this month. I don't understand. Dragon's Lair 2? I don't know. And like, no, it's got to be a good game.
It's got to be a really good game. Mirror's Edge.
What? Yeah. Wow, 2 Earth Defense Force games. Earth Defense Force 2025 and Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon.
I can't play that one.
The Return of Matt Hazard.
I can't play that Insect Armageddon one.
El Shaddai.
They got giant spiders.
I was playing a game.
El Shaddai is really good. It's actually a good action-adventure game.
I was playing something that had giant spiders in it the other day. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It was... Nope, don't remember. All right. Next up, here's a blast from the past that we seem to get a check-in for. Apparently, 2016 is now the magic date for the Assassin's Creed movie starring Michael Fassbender based on Assassin's Creed 1. There's how many? There's like 150 Assassin's Creed games now.
It's not going to happen.
You don't think it's ever going to happen?
Nope. I seriously think it's not going to happen.
Your Assassin's Creed movie's already out.
Yeah.
Fucking Fassbender.
Yeah. A little plug myself. Everybody search Depixelated Assassin's Creed Blue Goggles Films on YouTube. Yep. You're welcome.
Oh, it's fantastic. You guys should all do that. No, I mostly bring this up because a lot of times I find it hilarious when like next week there'll be a story about like, that Dead Rising TV show is now slated for 2018. And you just be like, you guys are never putting this shit out. You're never going to do it. Like, and also, I mean, if they are going to put out an Assassin's Creed movie, like, man, you guys really need to up your game because we live in a year where I feel like I'm going directly into Chris Farley down by the river voice. No, we live in 2015 when we've got a new Star Wars and Avengers 2, and I don't even know if there's anything. I don't even need any more fingers, right? I mean, just like you're going to have to actually, you know what? I really hope that the World of Warcraft movie is good. I think that I can't ever remember the guy's name. Is David Bowie's kid? The guy that made Moon is directing it.
Yeah. I can't remember the guys, but Moon was good.
Yeah,
Moon was really good.
And Warcraft has enough easy to translate epic stories.
Right.
I mean, even if you just made a World of Warcraft movie, and I don't know what story, I'm not even caught up. I don't even know all the stories of World of Warcraft, but just like if you just took the Arthas story from Warcraft 3 and made that like the first half and then made the second half like conquering that motherfucker, that would be
Listen to Jeff.
Duncan Jones.
Listen to Jeff.
But I hope that it's good.
Hollywood, listen to Jeff.
I thought that Hollywood had learned, right? Is it like the minute they started assigning quality talent, giving actual budgets to superhero movies, they were the most popular thing of all time. The video games are just sitting there waiting. A Halo movie? Are you kidding me? How hard would it be to make a goddamn Halo movie?
Oh, but no, they have to make Halo exclusive web series for the Master Chief Collection. Yeah. I'm upset about that one because whatever the guy's name is, he just got cast as Luke Cage, which solidified me never working for Marvel as a superhero. Thank you, Chadwick Boseman and whatever random black guy who is Luke Cage now. Assholes. Man.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I wanted to be Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman gets cast. And I'm like, okay, I got to bulk up. I'm going to be Luke Cage.
Right.
And random guy gets cast. And I was just like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Thank you. No more black superheroes. Thank you, Marvel.
Yeah, you took Falcon, Black Panther,
Anthony Mackie. They got all. They hit the Holy Trinity.
Right.
They hit them.
I'm trying to. I mean, like I'm not super familiar with the Marvel canon, but I'm trying to think of. Hey, you know what? Maybe they'll make a sequel to the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, and you could be John Stewart from Green Lantern.
But see, the big thing about that is, real quick, Idris Elba is up for that one because he's trying to get fired by Marvel because he doesn't want to be Hemdale anymore.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, I'll be Hemdale.
Yeah.
I'll stand there with a sword. I'll be the gatekeeper. I'll get frozen. He doesn't do much.
Right.
But he gets paid a lot of money and people know who he is. I'll do it. Whatever. I'll play somebody's son. Just get me in the movie so I can jump and kick somebody.
You know, I'll tell you this right now. I would pay somebody else to just have to be standing in the back of a scene in any of these movies. Like,
yeah.
And if I like had okay, so if the Make-A-Wish Foundation came to me and they were like, "What do you want?" I'll be like, "I want to be the guy that's like bussing tables in the back of the cantina scene in the new Star Wars movie, right? Just so that forever, like someday, right? I'm gonna be a super old man. And I'll be like, you kids know I was in that J.J. Abrams Star Wars. And they'll be like, "No, you weren't, Grandpa." And I'll be like, "Hold on, pull it up on your mind disc. Right? Forward the hologram. Forward it. Okay, now enhance, right there,
right there.
What?
Grandpa! You're goddamn right.
All right. Speaking of making a wish, Kickstarter just put out its financials for last year. $529 million brought in Kickstarter during 2014.
Ridiculous.
But you want to know the most interesting part about this story that you can't read because you're too far away from the screen.
What's up?
All right. So if you look down here, you will find that there were 22,252 successful projects that earned money on Kickstarter last year.
Okay.
22,000. Of that, 1,980 were in the games category. That's not even video games. That's board games and anything that's a game. So of everything that was on Kickstarter, 2,000 of those were games, and 20,000 of those were just
movies, technology,
on your head, or
what was it? Potato salad, or something?
Candy shooting potato salad.
Yeah.
Right. I got to make a movie. I want to do an anime that you wear or something. But what's interesting is that. Although there were only call it 10% of those were games.
Yeah.
16.8% of the total money, 89.1 million, was for games.
Wow.
So I'm kind of curious to know
what.
I think that it's got to be just like movies and shit, right? Like Veronica Mars and
yeah. I was a part of a Kickstarter film
because those tend to raise if they've got a good person, a name behind them, right? They can raise a few $1 million.
Yeah, we weren't going for the millions. We were going for like I think it was like 10,000, 20,000 because it was real low budget, and they mapped out exactly what they needed when they needed it and everything, and they smashed the goal. And so, but yeah, the Veronica Mars one, I think that was $1 million, and then that dude from.
Yeah, and I
can't remember his name. He was in Scrubs.
Some douchey guy with his douche movie.
Yeah. And everybody was like, why is he on Kickstarter? He's got money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they don't want to use their own.
Yeah. What I find interesting, though, is that I think that, with John and I doing the Super Awesome Video Game Show, we cover early access. And so I think that we've seen a lot of these things start to happen. And I think there was last year when we were talking about Kickstarter, we kept saying that we're waiting for some of the big busts. And this year we did have at least 2 huge Kickstarter bust video games. One was the Yogscast game that they raised all the money for, and then it just completely gone. And the other one was the Neil Stevenson fencing, the sword fighting game, where they're like, "Yeah, we made a beta. It was terrible. Sorry."
I love that.
I still think that it's a great way for. It seems like it's evened out. It's like in the beginning, there was like this golden utopia of we're gonna cut out EA entirely.
Yeah.
Now it just feels like, all right, well, 2 guys from Rocksteady have decided they want to go make their own game, and it looks really cool. So
help us.
I mean, Elite Dangerous came out, and I'm still trying to figure out how to play that game. It's very difficult. It's a space simulator. It's a sequel to this Elite game. It's really cool. I mean, it took me I sat here for 30 minutes just trying to figure out what all the controls were because it's
very
really
extensive.
Detailed. But it's hard to. I haven't gotten the hang of finding out where there are things to shoot at yet. So I can now jump between systems and fly all over the galaxy, and I'm like, all right, here's a bounty, and they're like, he might be in one of these 3 systems, and I'm like, those are so many light years away from each other.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Anyway, next up, I thought this was an interesting one that you might find fascinating. So Tekken 7 is experimenting with this thing where they've got 2 arcade cabinets set up that will let both people fight from the same side of the screen.
First player.
Right.
Yeah.
So both people can be on the left-hand side of the screen, and they just see the screen mirrored on different things. I don't know. Is this anything to this?
To me, it gives the advantage because no one ever starts on second player. No, nobody likes to play second player.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to play on the right side. Because when you're doing the training, especially because this is mainly for the fighting game community. This will affect the fighting game community. It won't affect just a casual fighting game player.
Sure.
And so in my head, when it comes down to and these are the arcade machines, and I don't know if they're going to translate this into home copies or maybe you could just go to the menu and toggle it.
I think probably the biggest thing would maybe be online.
Yeah, online. That's
when
what
you're playing online with somebody, you can say, hey, which side do you want to be on?
It's it doesn't matter. Okay, I'll just toggle this on, so whatever. But to me, I'm like, they're just having fun. That's not something that's going to, they didn't spend more than a day trying to figure that out.
What I wonder would be really interesting, and I feel like it's totally possible, yet it would be a really strange dynamic, is if you could set it so that you're always on the left side. So if somebody jumps over your head, the screen just whips around real fast, and you're back on the other side.
Whoa.
So you only ever have to learn to input commands from one side.
Which is crazy to me because I understand, because the way a lot of Japanese arcades are set up, you're not sitting next to the person you're fighting.
Right.
They're sitting on the other side on a completely different machine by themselves. And so it's one of those
things. They can't knife you immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's they gotta wait till you beat them, and then they're like, oh, good game. Stop stabbing my neck. But it's, to me, looking at it, I'm just like, that's gonna be so weird because technically the person if you're looking at your screen, technically the person's blocking, but then on their screen they're pressing a different and so it's what? And so when I saw that, I was just like, this is pointless. I was like, they're just messing around with people just to see what'll happen. But I don't think there's really any benefit from it.
Yeah,
so.
I can't say that I've ever heard anybody who I know who's into fighting games ever even talk about anything remotely I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really kind of bizarre because it seemed interesting that this is the first time that I'm hearing this in 2014 because it seems like we could have been doing this forever ago.
Yeah.
Well, next up, so I don't know if you know this, but okay. So Madden, I don't know a shit ton about Madden. Madden NFL 09 was an anniversary Madden thing, and let's see if we can get this correct here. They put in 140 historic NFL teams with the stats and positions of thousands of retired athletes to celebrate the series' 20th anniversary. But they took the names off the jerseys, changed the numbers, and then refused to pay any royalties to those retired players.
Wow.
So they got together and sued them. And EA came back and said, no, this is, what did they call it? incidental use protected under the First Amendment. These are public players and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? An appeals court said, nope, you got to go pay those people because you used them. And I feel like this is not the first time that I've seen this come up with sports games.
Oh, hell no.
Especially with the college games. Where
in my brain, this goes all the way back to like NBA Showdown, and they got shooting guard number 23.
Right.
And it's supposed to be Michael Jordan, and all of his stats are like bumped up, but it's not Jordan.
Right.
And I'm like, that's bullshit. That's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where I'm surprised that this is the first time someone was like, hey.
oh, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Apparently there was, let's see, in May of 2009, a bunch of former college athletes sued EA over the likenesses in NCAA basketball and NCAA football games. Which, I feel like the sports games are the place where I see most often the question of this idea of how you control your own identity, right?
Right.
Like, you ask yourself a question. You say that if you're a professional athlete, right, and they make a game that has your team in it, and there's a character, there's a avatar there that's not your number, but it stats of it are very tweaked to the way that you play the game, right? But let's say it doesn't have your face on it. Is that, I mean, if they're essentially representing you, but just stripping away just enough so that they don't have to pay you for it. And it's one of those things where I just go, fuck, guys, doesn't Madden make enough to just cut a couple checks to some old football players?
Right.
I mean,
they do.
Seriously, like, that's
especially with all the tournaments they do that they just get what. Yeah.
Also, that's kind of like the last people. If I was working at EA Sports, the last people I would want pissed off at me were people from the NFL.
Exactly.
It's like, seriously, guys. So I count this as a win. I don't do sports games very often. I was just like,
that's a win.
Good for you guys.
Because like you think about it, like they couldn't do that with the UFC game. Make some character that resembled like Anderson Silva, but instead of calling him the Spider, they call him the Tarantula or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, no, we're not gonna pay him. One, you don't want to piss off those dudes. Sure. They beat people up for a living.
They don't care. They'll drive.
They'll
care.
Drive. They don't care. They'll pay their own bail money.
Brock Lesnar just walks through walls like the Juggernaut, bitch. Like
that man is a beast.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is definitely a win for the Joes.
Yeah, I think there was a story last year. Maybe it might have been that same one from 2009 about like the college stuff is so fucked up, right? Because they can't earn money, but then if they make college games, then that if they are paying they go back to the college, which isn't obliged to pay because they don't. And you go, because it's. I understand that at its heart, the idea of saying that like we don't want you going to college and then using the institution of higher learning as a way to earn money, right? I understand that. By the same token, they're earning money for somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like the college is getting money, and EA is getting money, and so you go, well, I don't know. I think I'd like to see maybe something where if you do have people playing college, and I don't know, maybe I don't know enough about this, so I'm talking at my ass here, but maybe like have to take like 50% of everything that you can prove is earned by this particular player and put it in like escrow until they're out of college. So it's like they're getting paid, but they're not using it while they're in college.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
or it goes to their scholarship or something. Who knows?
Yeah. Speaking
meal plan.
Speaking of getting paid and speaking of getting shafted, I don't know if you saw this last week. I like to call this little segment of the show every so often Tales from EVE Online.
Uh-oh.
I swear to God, if EVE Online was what I'm about to tell you, I see one of these stories like 3 times a year. And I wish that I could just actually last year they had this giant battle. I don't know if you remember this.
Okay.
But I don't know how familiar you even are with EVE Online.
I'm familiar with it. I think I tried to play it at one point in time, but
it looks fascinating from the outside.
Yeah.
Then you try to play it, and you're just like,
I think that's exactly what happened. That was a reenactment of me.
Okay, less like the Starship Enterprise, more like an Excel spreadsheet. All right.
Yeah.
But last year they had a battle that was so huge where they got 2. Like, what happened? One corporation found a few of their ships caught out in the open. And so one of the biggest factions in EVE Online apparently is the Goon Squad from Something Awful forums.
Word.
And they live to just fuck people up. They're mass numbers of people that don't have great stuff, but there's a huge amount of them, and they don't give a fuck. They'll get blown up.
They're ants.
So somebody caught one of these ships out in the open because they have these things where you can jump and then... Actually, I may be getting two stories confused, but I think that what happened was... I know there was one story where they had like this cruiser that was like it cost a few $100s with real life money to put this thing together, right? And it was jumping, and it was in a cooldown between jumps, and somebody wandered in and was like, "Oh!" And then he just like got all that, "Get over here, get over here, get over here!" And then it's like other people started jumping in to try to defend it. But last year they had a thing that I was just watching videos from. Biggest battle in all of EVE. I think that they said something like $30,000 worth of real money was lost in the ship destruction in that battle because. The thing about EVE Online is that you can translate the money from the game back into dollars and then back in and out.
Okay.
So to build a ship, it's like you have to buy a blueprint, you have to buy materials, and so people will either use money they've earned in-game or they'll put money into the game. But
just to accelerate it a little bit more.
But EVE will let you use your in-game currency to pay your subscription because it's actual like currency.
Okay.
And they have really smart, a lot of fascinating stuff. Apparently some asshole on EVE took $1,500 and put it in his ship, and he was transporting it somewhere else. And before he even got out of protected space, some people found him, blew up a ship, all $1,500 gone in an instant, and that just happens in EVE. Yeah. When we get done here, when we go on break or something, I'll show you one of the animated GIFs of that fight last year. It's like, you cannot barely see space because of the density of ships and lasers. There's just shit blowing up everywhere. It's incredible. But I love this shit. I think that somebody should just make a TV show where somebody's recording EVE all the time. They just put that shit up.
Because I play Warframe, and you can just play the game and maybe get lucky drops or like can farm. You can do all this other stuff, but then there's the platinum, and when you first start the game, you get a certain amount of platinum, and then you start realizing, oh wait, that platinum is actual like money that I can like get from my bank and put into the game.
Yeah,
and I see all these people with all these amazing Warframes, and I'm just like, I can't bring myself to put any more money into a game.
I think EVE is fascinating because, like, so players run corporations that are guilds in EVE, right?
Okay.
But as I understand it, it's pretty standard practice, like if you want to join one of these corporations, for them to call you on the phone and make sure you're a real person, because there have been cases of, like, you work for this one corporation and then you go get hired by these guys and spend a year infiltrating up to the point where you can put $1,500 into a ship, and then you put $1,500 into a ship and fucking drive off and give it back to your old corporate, like, actual industrial espionage. There's a story about an ambassador, I think, in Africa for the diplomatic corps that it was a recruiter for his corporation in EVE, that the people that he found that were really, really good at different administrative parts of EVE, he would call them and be like, I want you to move here and work for me at the ambassador, right? Like in the consulate, as you know. So there's a lot of really crazy stuff with EVE. I feel like EVE is one of those games where the people that are into it are more into it than anybody else in video games.
Yeah, seriously, $1,500 though.
Yeah. Oh, that's even. I could find you better stories than that.
Oh God,
that just happened like last week.
Oh God.
Well, speaking of flying around in space, apparently Star Fox is going to be on display at E3, and it's going to be playable. And it makes me wonder why the fuck we haven't seen it if it's that close to being playable. And apparently you can fly it with the gamepad and cockpit view and use motion controls, and I don't really want to do that. But
it's the secret weapon.
Are you've crossed your arms?
I've crossed my arms.
He's got a face. You put the face on. It's like I bring up a Wii U story, and all your body language just scrunches.
Like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game, man. It's a whole different ball game. I am so, like, with the things that are happening right now and the video games, and I am so invested in Sony. I could give two shits about Wii U.
All right, you heard it, everybody. Aaron hates Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Wii U is for babies. That's what he said.
And you know, and the only reason why Xbox One is still on my radar is because I'm really interested in seeing gameplay of Crackdown. I want to see this new Crackdown. I remember it from E3. I remember the guy who started who was on the original team of Killer Instincts when it came out a long time ago, and he was helping them out when they first released it again. When it wasn't Iron Galaxy.
Crackdown or Killer Instinct here?
Well, the guy who he worked with both companies.
Oh, okay.
But he's behind Crackdown now.
Oh,
and so I think he worked at Rare. And so not Rare, but
whoever I don't remember.
He's the old guy.
The guys that got absorbed by Amazon that made Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
I can't remember their name ever.
But because it's Iron Galaxy now.
Yeah.
And so
makers of Dive Kick, a fighting product that you should all go out and buy right now.
Oh man. Just do Dive Kick in real life. Just do it. See what happens.
No, that's what happened to me in real life. One kick to the face, and I'd take a dive.
But I'm sure it'll be interesting. I'm sure.
Nintendo doesn't make bad games. I mean,
it's
that's
true.
The thing. And I feel like over the last year, I keep saying this. Last year was a great year to have a Wii U between Hyrule Warriors and Bayonetta and Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Like there was a hell of a year to have a Wii U.
And I'm happy. I'll say this. I'm finally happy for them.
Yeah,
because I know for a while I had a friend who only had Zombie U, and I bought that for him.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like when you look back on last year, right? Last year with the Xbox One and the PS4 was, in my opinion, the single greatest first year for launch consoles I have ever fucking seen. Right?
Yeah.
They finally did it. Right? Wii U took a year. PlayStation 3 took a year and a half.
Yeah.
Xbox 360, I don't know. I didn't buy one at launch, but I hear that it had a slow launch as well, right?
Yeah.
PS4, there was at least something to play last Christmas when you got it. There was like 4 games, and they were good. And then this year, they just kept releasing shit, right? So it may have been Metro 2033 and Last Light, but at least it was something.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a few more. We're going to zip right through these. This is just kind of a PSA. I don't know if you've seen this, but the Internet Archive is like, I think they did this. I think they're the same organization that did that thing where they put a bunch of arcade games that you could play on their website.
Okay.
But last week they put up 2,386 old PC games that you can play in a DOSBox window in a browser on their website. And so there's plenty of garbage in there, but there's also stuff like the old Lost Vikings and like the original Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting. It's a great place to go back and look at old games. I played some of them. They don't run perfectly, and they don't have any joystick support yet, so you can't use a gamepad. But it's 2,000 free games from history.
It's like you can't really complain that much.
Yes. All right, so I don't know, Aaron. You're familiar with the Amiibos, right?
Yes.
They're the little. Here, I got one over here.
Oh, yes.
These little Skylanders dudes for the Nintendo?
Yes.
All right, so do you know that they every so often one of these things will come out that has a manufacturing defect and it will sell for a crazy amount of money. Like there was a Samus that had 2 gun arms instead of 1 gun arm, and it was like it sold for like $2,000.
Wow.
There was a Princess Peach that didn't have any feet that I think, if I remember from the story that we read, sold for $25,000 on eBay. I don't know, but I like to report on it.
Okay.
So the latest one is a Diddy Kong with no bottom jaw. That looks like kind of
that thing looks so creepy.
Yeah, and let's see. I think that they're starting to slow down because this one sold for $400 rather than the
whopping
$25,000
for no feet.
Yep,
no feet.
Yep. In like 30 years though, somebody would probably pay that person like. More than that, more than $25,000 for that.
Just get that because they're that crazy collector.
Yeah, but I always think it's funny, and this one I think is weird because Diddy Kong looks like a goddamn mutant without a bottom.
Yeah, he's like,
banana. All right, I'm sure that you saw this news because you pay attention to the news, Aaron. But even though we don't have a video or screenshots or anything, Kung Lao is going to be
back
in Mortal Kombat 10.
He's back,
and we haven't seen him yet, but apparently he's going to be old, right?
No, there's a grainy picture. It's a grainy picture. He's older. Speculations are that the reason why they released Quan Chi first is to show that he's being brought back from the dead because he died.
Right.
Kung Lao was one of the
because it was only Sonya and Johnny Cage and Raiden survived.
I do believe so.
9.
Yeah.
They really.
They killed them all off.
Ooh, it was good. It was just like, wow.
It was one of those things that you're playing the game and you're like, whoa.
Yep.
Jax.
No, there goes Stryker. Fuck.
Yeah. And so, so they're like, he brought him back to life to the point, because people were like, but then he'd be a zombie. And they're like, no, brought him back to life so he could live. And so now he's older, he's aged. His hat looks fucking amazing. Because
is it like a sombrero now? Or?
Well, no, it's the same hat, but you know how when I don't know if you've seen the video, but each character has 3 different play styles.
Sure, yeah.
And his 3 different play styles revolve around one of them revolves around his hat, and I think it's called like Buzzsaw or Buzzkill or something like that.
Buzzsaw and Hat Trick.
Yes, and the Buzzsaw, it looks like a fucking buzzsaw. And I was like, it's his hat, but it's like the blades on it is just like, he just went to Home Depot or he called up Shredder from Secret of the Ooze. And he was like, I need your help. And I'm so excited because
I'm so salty. You just mentioned Shredder and I thought about that Ninja
the
Turtle.
new one.
Sorry.
No,
sorry.
not the Ginsu
Shredder. I've got remote control blades.
I can shoot them.
Yep.
And they'll come back.
Yep.
Don't worry about me. My friend's Megatron.
Please continue talking about.
But no, I'm very excited. I'm so interested to see where this story is gonna go because to me, Mortal Kombat 9 had the greatest fighting game story ever. And they tried to do it in Mortal Kombat versus DC. They tried to make a story about it. It was like, okay, this is awesome how you get to play as every single character so you can find out. To me, you find out which character you actually like are good with. Yep. Like there are the characters that like, I'm instantly like Scorpion, let's go. Right. Or mainly Sub-Zero. But then when you play that story mode, you get to like, oh, I get to play as everybody. Even the bad guys and we'll see what happens.
And they kind of force you a little bit to learn how to play with everybody.
Yeah, you have to because you have to fight like 4 or 5 guys, and each one gets more and more difficult.
Yep.
And you can't just be like, and the way they're doing these play styles, you really got to learn your shit.
Yep. No, I'm really interested. I know some people don't like Mortal Kombat.
They're dumb.
I think it's fantastic.
All right. Whoever you are dumb.
Last, but certainly not least. Well, I don't know. It depends on how you feel. So, all right, Aaron. Okay, I'm going to get my chronology straight here, right?
Okay.
Last year, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh,
no,
God.
wait. This year.
Yeah.
This year, 2014. Okay, in 2000. I'm looking for the release date. All right. Okay. August 8th, 2014, Five Nights at Freddy's came out.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
August. That's. What? 8, right? 8. I would have to count on my. Okay, so that's like 4 or 5 months ago, right?
Right.
Five Nights at Freddy's comes out. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, November 11th, 2014. Right, and just today or a couple days ago, a teaser on the website. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 coming very soon. It's been 2 months since Five Nights at Freddy's 2 came out. I feel like this developer is like, oh my, he never anticipated that this was going to be a thing. He's just like, I got to run into the ground right now.
Yeah, I got to do it.
It's like watching Activision and fast forward, just like, all right,
Call of Duty,
Five Nights at Freddy's versus Resident Evil,
Call of Duty,
Guitar Hero.
Yes.
So, yeah, I talked some shit last time about Five Nights at Freddy's. Somebody tried to come back. I don't fucking care.
It's not scary.
Well, it's, you know what? I've officially gotten to the point where I can't even talk shit about it anymore because there's apparently a bunch of lore and story shit that's hidden in there that I've never seen that is compelling to people, and people who like horror games, they like their horror games. I think it's a cheap-ass game, personally.
It's not horror. It's not. It's. I'll give it this. It's suspense. It's suspense. You're a security guard looking at a camera. Creepy shit's happening. It's suspense.
It's a tension machine is what it is.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. For people who are just in it for getting scared and like the viscera of just like, boo, okay, fine. I don't. That doesn't really work as well.
Play the PC demo over and over and over.
See, I think that's it.
Or Alien Isolation.
We were saying, I think it was on the last podcast, Extra Credits has a whole thing about the difference between games that create a sense of dread that stays with you once you've stopped playing them, and stuff that's just like boogity boogity boogity, and then you're like, okay. And
or in Five Nights at Freddy's case,
yeah. I don't know. At this point, I don't know enough about it. I mean, like, I've seen pictures of people cosplaying. I've seen pictures of Pokemon dressed up to look like Five Nights at Freddy's characters.
Have you seen the fan art? What's the crazy guy from GTA 5?
Trevor with all
and they're all
that's
dead.
That's my favorite.
Yes. I was just like, yeah.
Game where you just get to
actually walk around.
Or just like, sorry, I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to answer some questions. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. We're probably going to have to cut this show just a little bit short, but we're going to get to as many questions as we can. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Oh my God, that was the fastest cigarette I've ever smoked in my entire life. And I am so full of coffee. I've just been sitting here like this thing was this.
I've been
like,
watching it.
This
should be
46.
like,
This is like a gallon of coffee, and I'm just drinking it and drinking it.
2-second time lapse.
So the thing is that I don't know if people know this, but when I record, I don't sleep. So I sleep so little here in doing my Rage Select stuff that it's a timer. So when like I'll start sipping my coffee like 5 minutes before. It's like going to the movie. You don't want to eat all your popcorn to the previews, right?
Right.
And when somebody comes in the door, it's like I start guzzling it, and I got about 3 hours. And after the end of that, like as soon as every guest at Rage Select walks out the door, I just crumple onto the floor. I just fall asleep. I just narcoleptic right there. All right. Anyway, we've got enough time here to get through a bunch of questions. We've got a bunch of questions. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. And our first one comes in from Michael. And Michael says, Dear Rage Select, are you guys excited for Final Fantasy 15 at all? I am, but I wonder whether or not I should be. The fact that it has been in development since 2006 scares me, since games with long development cycles don't always turn out well. Yet at the same time, one part of me thinks that it's possible that they have legitimately been perfecting it. Am I being naive? What do you guys think? Anyway, thanks again for everything. Sincerely, Michael. And then he says, P.S. I found out you guys needed questions. Okay, never mind. This is one of the times that I put out a call for questions. I didn't put out a call for questions this week because I figured let's go do some of the previous ones. Are you excited for Final Fantasy 15?
I haven't been paying attention to it that much.
Have you not seen the latest trailer for it?
I saw the latest trailer, and you know me, I'm Final Fantasy. It's pretty.
I like. It's interesting because let's see, the last few Final Fantasies, 13 was definitely their kind of weird neo-futuristic thing, right?
Okay,
all the 13 universe where it's like swords and airships and all that. 12 was a little bit more medieval, but it still had the spaceships. I like the aesthetic that I'm seeing in 15, where it's like, because like they're dry. It's like, well, first of all, I like the idea of legitimately creating like a road trip atmosphere because that's what you do in so many Final Fantasy games anyway. But the idea of just like, we're driving around. But I like the idea that the car looks fairly realistic and the roads look fairly realistic, but then there's just all these monsters and airships
and like the Highlands and stuff like that.
And like in the latest trailer they had a part where the four main dudes or whatever kind of hide behind a rock as a behemoth
Japanese
goes
pop
by.
Man.
And there's one with the Titans that is legitimately like
a
Titan. I don't know. I just started playing. We played for the dojo that'll be coming up tomorrow. Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
And it's the same guy, and that guy's really good and it's in the Kingdom Hearts series. I feel like he's really good at making a third-person action game that still has the it's fun to just jam on a button and do a bunch of stuff, but behind it, it's got all the Final Fantasy numbers so you're still putting points into this stuff. I think it looks good. I understand the trepidation, but I feel like Square is one of those companies where their games a lot of times do have a very long development cycle, but a lot of times at the end they come out all right.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got. I think back in the when like I was really like interested into the Final Fantasy series. Those games did take a long time because when they came out, it was like a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And so that's where, like, when I hear him say it's like, it's been in development since 2006, I'm like, good. Because that means it's going to be like very like story driven.
Right.
And then you're going to get some bang for your buck no matter what, especially with the trailers that they're sending out. If the game is actually like that, it's gonna be fun.
I mean, who knows? We all know that trailers lie their ass off, right?
Correct.
But I guess the thing is that
not Japanese trailers.
Yeah, obviously. Looking at you, Sega. No, but I feel like the thing with long development cycles is I don't know if that entirely applies to Final Fantasy. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like 13, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I understand all the problems that people had with it, but I still played all 3 of the 13 games, and some of them were good. I liked the second one, but I feel like when you look at long-term development as a signal for a game's going to be garbage, a lot of times you'll see more movement on it, right? Like I almost feel like when you have a long development time but there's no news, that's a good sign because it's not like, well, we brought in another studio to help with this part of it, and we changed engines, and the company got sold, and the company went out of business.
There's too much going on.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like this has mostly just been that old school Square mentality of we're just going to hunker down and make this game for 6 years, right?
Yeah. And hey, here's this trailer just so you know what we've been doing.
Yeah. And I don't think the trailers for 15, I've always been, even when it was versus 13, those trailers were always more exciting to me than the 13 trailers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested, and it's one of the things that I'm looking forward to coming out this year. I think it's coming out this year, right? I think
December?
So. I don't know. You see, I don't trust when they say December because that's
holidays
code for we don't know, maybe. All right, this next one comes in from Alejandro. And Alejandro has a question that I don't know that I've ever been asked before, and I don't know that I have a ready answer for. But it seems like one that we should. And he says he doesn't have any intro, but he just says, "What game do you wish to have a DLC for? Whether to expand on the story or stages to battle in online. Hail the Dawn Lord and his disciples, Alejandro." I don't know if anybody's after, like, what game that doesn't have DLC do you wish did have DLC? The question that I don't, like, God, everything's got DLC these days.
DLC.
So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think I'd have to go. So it's like, Dark, no, that has DLC. Sky, no, that has DLC. Saints, no, that's got a shit ton of DLC.
Shit ton of DLC.
Fallout 3 has a shit ton of DLC.
Last of Us has a lot of DLC.
Bioshock Infinite has DLC.
Destiny has DLC.
Mass Effect all had a bunch of DLC. Like, we live in a very DLC heavy world.
Seriously.
I'm trying to. That's a good question.
Street Fighter is just
Halo 4 didn't have any
DLC.
Or I guess it had maybe maps for multiplayer, but didn't have any like story DLC. I think you know what? Actually, I think that's where I'm going to put my answer right now. Is that I feel like there was so much lore that wasn't brought to the forefront in Halo 4 that Halo 4 could really have used more DLC.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I want Grand Theft Auto 5 DLC. I know they're not going to do it, but
there it is.
I want GTA 5 DLC. It's funny. Somebody, when we put up our video of running from the cops and the motorcycles and everything, somebody was like, I was watching that on like my 46-inch TV, and it was making me sick. And I was like, yes,
we did it.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. All the games that I play have DLC.
Witcher 2 had DLC, but it was free, so you got it. You didn't have to pay for it. They just released it because CD Projekt Red is badass. I'm trying to think of the games that are in my favorites on my Steam list, but every single one of them has DLC. Yeah. I could say, there's plenty of games out there that I could use some more DLC for. I mean, I think that everything they've released, I wish they would have had another Christmas Saints Row DLC because we didn't have one this year. Duck Dynasty needs a bunch of DLC to catch up to the modern. No.
I just went into a coma real quick, folks. I'm sorry.
No, I think Grand Theft Auto 5, of the games that have come out that haven't had any DLC, I mean, I know that there's multiplayer DLC for that, but I could have used, like, you know what? I want a Grand Theft Auto 5 Lamar DLC campaign where it's like, here's these
just
serious
Lamar.
guys. It's just Lamar.
Just Lamar.
I want Chop DLC. That's what I want.
Man.
I want just the dog's story. Actually, you know what? It's funny because there's plenty of stuff. You know what I'd love to see for Grand Theft Auto 5 would be Nico is persona non grata,
awesome.
the voice actor, because he got all horsey with them.
Yeah.
But like, I really liked it. Was it in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas where there was a whole bunch of but I think that they've got enough things going on in that universe. I think it would be cool to see some story stuff.
Did Max Payne 3 have DLC? I know it had multiplayer DLC, but did it?
I don't think it has single player DLC.
I just love to run around shooting people in slow motion more.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Max Payne 2 DLC.
Yeah, Max Payne 2 DLC, yeah.
All right, this next one comes in from Chelsea. Chelsea says, "Dear Jeff and Aaron, so some of my gaming friends are doing a challenge where they are supposed to beat 52 games in 1 year. I'm taking part of this challenge because I have a backlog of games I need to commit to. If you had to play 52 games in 1 year for personal enjoyment, not rage select, and you had to do them while drinking, what are the first 4 games you would pick? Thanks, Chelsea." I'm going to take out the drinking thing for you.
Yeah, I drink some Kool-Aid or some soda. That probably
Ecto Cooler.
help me stay awake.
So I mean, I guess that it's weird because the way that she's framed this, it's like, my friends are taking a challenge to beat 52 games in a year, and I'm like, I beat 52 games last year.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah.
I didn't review all of them, but boy howdy, I did beat them. I'm trying to think, because the thing for me is that I've got a backlog of things that I haven't beaten, like the Crew. I didn't play all the way through. I mean, we just played it for the dojo, and then I gave it to you. I'm still trying to beat Dragon Age. Fucking Dragon Age is whipping my ass, but I gotta get it.
I guess in my head, the games that I have, like, I know the Crew has an ending to the story.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard for me to like see those games as having an ending, like beating the game, if it's like a continuation.
But what's going to happen to generic white hipster man?
what's going to happen
angry
to
black
Baker?
His angry
oh
black
my god, his
kid.
partner. Oh my god, he doesn't get any better. He doesn't get any better. And this is what I found out. Okay, I know this is going off on a little tangent, but remember how I was like, "You've been away for how long? How are these people forgetting you?"
Right.
It's a completely different black guy than the black guy you start the game with.
Oh.
I thought it was the same black guy. It's a completely different black guy. So
Aaron,
I retract all my comments about why is that black guy acting like that when earlier he was like, "Hey, man, you're my buddy."
Are you telling me that all the black people in the Crew look the same to you?
They are drawn the same. All the black people in the Crew were drawn the same.
You know, Chelsea, I don't know that I can answer your question, because if I want to beat a game, I just go beat it.
Yeah.
I'm used to beating games. I actually find it weird that a lot of people don't finish games because when there's a game out there and I like it, I'm just like, oh, fucking finish
Play
it,
it.
man.
Yeah. That's what I did with Destiny.
Yeah.
I just sat down, I beat it in 2 days because that's what I did.
Because that's really all it takes to.
That's all it really takes. Yeah.
I'd like to put more time into Smash Brothers. I mean, I ended up putting it in my top 10 of the year, just from what I ended up playing and the little time that I played it. But I mean, I almost beat Bayonetta. I had this idea where I was going to play all the way back through Bayonetta 1 before I played Bayonetta 2, and I got about 2/3 the way through it, and I was like, I gotta play Bayonetta 2.
I mean, I can go back and beat games. Like, I'd love to go back and when it comes out, I know I will. DMC.
Yep.
I love that game.
I'm trying to think of games out there that I just didn't get a chance to beat that I wanted to, and I mean, for the most part, since my job involves sitting around this place playing video games, it's like, if I want to beat the game, I just
beat it.
Beat the game. Don't go out and get drunk.
Yeah.
Stay in and beat the game.
Or just go out to the corner store, get the drinks, and bring them back.
Also, I gotta say that when she says like games that you play while drinking, I can tell you this right now that doing Let's Plays and stuff over the last few years have got me to a point where the drunker it doesn't affect my gameplay quite as badly as it would. it mostly just disconnects me from my hands. So I'm just doing my reflexes. I'm just like, hey, that was great. What did I get? I'm commenting on what my hands are doing. I'm like, jump, Jeff, jump.
Jump. What's the button? What's the button?
Yeah, I don't know. I pulled up this question because I thought it was interesting, but then when I finally started thinking about it, I was just like,
well, good luck to you, Chelsea.
You know what? Okay, I'll give an answer. If I was going to do a thing where I went back and beat games, there are some conspicuous gaps in my gaming history.
Okay.
Specifically, the original Xbox, the N64, and the Dreamcast. I didn't have any of those systems. I never really dug into them. So there's probably a lot of stuff. Like I remember, I always wanted to play Jet Grind Radio. Never did. Somebody in one of the comments last week mentioned Otage and Otage 2, which were from software games on the original Xbox, were before Dark Souls and Demon Souls. Yeah. So I think that if I was going to do a thing where I sat down to beat games that I never played before, I'd probably pick like I've never beaten Mario 64. I played it, but I never had a Nintendo 64, so I've never sat down and played it all the way to the end.
I watched my brother beat it. I never. He didn't let me play it, so I watched my brother beat it. So
I feel bad. Every so often, we have people on the show, and they talk about the siblings that won't let them play their games.
It was bad.
And it's just like, how did you not just...
I didn't play Final Fantasy VII until he went to college.
Motherfucker.
I watched him the whole time. I had the player's guide in my lap telling him, no, don't go over there. Oh, get that material. Oh, yeah. It says here the proper combination for this. And then he was just like, all right. And then and as soon as he left to go to college, I was just like, let me get up on this son of a bitch. I'm going to show you how to play this.
I'm gonna put this question out to our listeners and say, I want to hear from how many of you folks had older siblings that refused to let you play the game.
Real. Let us unite.
Yeah. Amanda, who comes on from time to time and plays stuff, she tells the exact same story. She's like, my brother had the Xbox and he wouldn't let me play.
Oh, man.
And I'm just like... So I am the eldest sibling of all of my cousins, and my sister wasn't into playing games, so it's like I didn't ever have to fight her.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe I just don't know because I didn't have any competition. All right. Next up, this one comes from Tom. Tom says, hey, guys, Tom here. Recently, I bought the Evil Dead box set, and as Army of Darkness came to a close, I found myself shocked and highly confused. Some spoilers here. As I watched a bearded, long-haired Ash climb out of a cave 100 years in the future, only to find a post-apocalyptic graveyard where civilization once stood. The film cuts to black and roll credits. What the fuck? Where the fuck did that come from? Was this a trick? Should I get an axe? This wasn't the ending I remembered. The ending I remembered was Ash in the S-Mart, kicking names and taking ass, killing one more Deadite, get the girl, hail to the king, baby, roll credits. I had no idea this other ending even existed until seeing it play out before my eyes. So in light of this new revelation, my question to you is, what are some of your favorite alternate endings in video games and movies? I hope you answer my question, and spoilers be damned. All the best, Tom. P.S. Love what you do. I've been a big fan since Loading Bar. Take care. So...
You take care, Tom.
So, do you? I don't know that I've ever seen this alternate ending to.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Army of Darkness.
I remember the S-Mart.
Right.
And yeah, that's what I remember.
Yep. But I guess it must have been a Blu-ray.
Tom, were you drinking? And Tom, did you fall asleep to another movie and have a dream?
Did you fall asleep looking at the cover art for Army of Darkness?
Right. Yeah. That's happened to me before. The Wind Riders. I fell asleep. I started dreaming about fire dog demons and ice caves and stuff, and it ended up being in the movie, and I thought I was like, I just dreamt that shit up, and it was actually in the movie. But so I don't know. But alternate endings,
I don't know if there's. I mean, games don't really have alternate endings,
no.
Right? But movies. Let's see. I can think of a couple.
I just like the way Marvel ends all their stuff.
Well,
just stay after the credits.
I can think of two really notable examples. One, I feel like people probably know both of these, right? But you know that the original ending for the movie Dodgeball, or I don't know if this is a joke, but like when you go there, they said that originally Dodgeball ends with the what's his face, not his museum, the White Goodman, Ben Stiller's team winning, and then they all go woo, and then it's just like roll credits, and it's over. And I was like, oh, wow. But the one that I felt was most interesting, and I didn't know this for a long time, even though I had the DVD for this, was did you know that there was an alternate ending to 7? Have you ever seen the original ending to Seven?
That's the box one, isn't it? Yeah.
The David Fincher with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. But do you know how it originally ends?
No.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen Seven, seriously, just fucking turn this off and go watch
it. It is
right now.
So fucking amazing.
Now that you're back, spoilers for the end of Seven. So the end of Seven, like the original scripted ending, there's actually animatics on, I think it's like the Criterion Collection for it. So it plays out the way that it normally does. Then John Doe tells him that his wife's head's in the box. And then Morgan Freeman's character shoots John Doe in the head. And Brad Pitt's character says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Retiring." And then it's like the credits roll up. And then they switched it to what it is now.
Whoa.
And as I hear, like, there's a story, I guess, that Brad Pitt threatened to walk because they wanted that original. They wanted the happy ending, right? Where Morgan Freeman shoots him, roll the credits, and then there's a outtakes, like Smokey and the Bandit outtakes. But I think that they wanted to change it, and then that he threatened to walk, or somebody, a bunch of people said, no, you have to keep it this way because that original ending was garbage, right? After all that in the movie, right? This is a very powerful ending,
right?
And they changed it. Another one that I really love, another Fincher movie, because this is one of the ones that I watched commentary for, was so I don't know how many people know the story, but you know in Fight Club, when Tyler and Marla are having sex, and she says, "My God, I haven't been fucked like that since grade school." So in the book, there's the line, right? And the line is, it's the same situation, but she says, "I want to have your abortion." And so one of the people that was working on Fight Club, they went to Fincher and they were like, you've got to change this. You've got to change this. It cannot be, "I want to have your abortion." We just can't. We can't.
We're already pushing some shit.
And so Fincher was like, "I will change it, but if I change it, you've got to go with what I change it to. I'm not going to change it back." And because I'm not going to do this, right? I'm not going to do 100 takes of this line until I find something that's sanitary. So I'll change it for you. Say, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It'll be better than this.
Can't be that.
So they wrote "I haven't been fucked like that since grade school." They filmed it. They showed it to this woman who was a producer. She said, "Please change it back. Please change it back." He was like, "Nope. That's
sorry. Already taken."
There's actually quite a few more of those. And I mean, I wish video games had alternate endings. I mean, I guess maybe like the Silent Hill 2 dog ending, right? Or games that have multiple endings. You can kind of pick one that you like better than the other ones.
Yeah.
But, I mean, by and large, I feel like endings are kind of an afterthought for games because there's so much in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, this next one comes in from Ethan. Ethan says, "Hello, Jeff and Aaron. I have a question for you, and I will keep it short." Good. Should I buy a licensed game that was not reviewed well? I like Dragon Ball Z, but the latest game, Battle of Z, had poor reviews. Do I buy it anyway because I like the product? Or should I stay away from it and see if the new game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, gets better reviews when it's released? Though I might end up in the same situation. Again, thank you for reading if you do. Ethan.
Buy them both.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm a huge, I can't say glutton.
Yeah.
But I'm huge in, if there's a specific series you like, follow it until you personally are like, I can't. They lost me. Like, I was all about Onimusha, all of that. I did the Onimusha Warriors, Orochi, and everything, and I was just it was Smash Brothers with samurais. That's all it was. And at that one, I was just like, what did they do? And so, but. You know, and truthfully, the review, and this is something I've gone, it's just especially like looking at all these websites that give it, like, you know, for instance, Destiny.
Right. It comes back to Destiny.
It always comes back to Destiny.
God damn.
IGN gave Destiny, I do believe, a 7. Might even been a
shocker. A 7 from IGN.
A 7.
Woo.
And then I can't remember the game that came out next, but they gave it a 9, and I was appalled. I was appalled. And to me, I know people who stick to reviews solely to know if they're going to buy a game.
Right.
And a 7 to them is something they won't even go near.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you have to get this game. It's amazing.
Right.
And so it's one of those, like, you know, I'm really intense when it comes to, like, if I want a game, I will look anything and everything up with it. I'll look up gameplay. I'll look up, like, the development of it. I will look up if someone's streaming it, look that up. Look up, like, how to, look up Let's Plays. Look up anything and everything that you can on this game to see if it will pique your interest. Because a lot of the games that I buy, I look at people playing them, and I'm usually like, that person's an idiot. I can play this game better,
right?
And I'll have more fun doing it. Let me go out and get that game. And so
that's our whole business model there.
Yeah.
That guy's an idiot. I can play it better. That's our mission statement.
So I say, if you are hesitant, just research.
You know, here's the thing. I can't imagine that a game like this isn't going to be on sale.
Right. Exactly.
So pick a number, right? Like, do this equation in your head and go, like, look, if this game is total garbage, how much we're willing to pay for it to find out.
Right.
And then just wait until it gets to there, because, geez, Louise, there's a lot of video games out there.
A lot.
There's a hell of a lot of video games, and there's a lot of video games that will occupy your time for a long time. I can't get past level 3 of Vagante. I've been trying. I should be playing other stuff, but I'm not. So I think that, I mean, the situation that you're describing, Ethan, is you're going into this with your eyes open.
Yeah.
You know that this could be a stinker.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a much easier situation to part with your money, where you already know that you could be getting burned, rather than the classic situation of, you think this is going to be the greatest game of all time. Oh, it's the worst game of all time.
Boo-boo.
Watch Dogs. Oh. I'm kidding. Watch Dogs isn't the worst game of all time. It's just mostly.
It's on the list.
All right. This next one comes in from Tony. Tony says, Dear Jeff and Aaron, now that the initial heat has died down, I wanted to know what your thoughts were on the all-female casting for the Ghostbusters remake. I don't know anything about this. Does focusing on an all-female cast automatically mean that the film will be more relatable to a female audience, such as a Tyler Perry movie is more relatable to an African-American audience? Was the fact that the original crew members were males so vital to the overall comedy and story that an all-female crew is now a necessary balance? I personally don't care what gender the new crew is. I'm more concerned about who's making it. Wasn't impressed with Bridesmaids, and seeing this build up with the same director and likely some of the same cast doesn't fill me with hope. Thanks for reading, and praise to the veiny shaft of the all-throbbing dong, Tony. Is this okay? So they are making a reboot of Ghostbusters with an all-female cast from the director of Bridesmaids,
right? And if I remember correctly, the females who were cast all were given the okay by the original cast members of Ghostbusters who are still living.
Okay.
And so I don't think it's...
I'm trying mentally to replay Ghostbusters and just turn everybody into a lady and see...
It wouldn't matter.
I think it works. I think it works.
It works just fine.
I mean, the only thing I guess I would be a little bit concerned about is if they feel the need, because it's a bunch of women, to crowbar in, because the original Ghostbuster, I'm trying to think, like, outside of, okay,
Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray's
right, but
interaction.
If you just gender switch that, right, and so you got the lady equivalent of Bill Murray chasing after Michael Fassbender as Sigourney Weaver, right? I guess it kind of, I don't know. Maybe it speaks to just something of a gender bias, that there's certain parts of it, but I'm trying to think, like, outside of Bill Murray getting blown by a lady ghost, I don't know that there's anything. And then the romance subplot. I honestly just think I'd rather just see a mixed cast of people, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why not have a Ghostbusters team that's 2 dudes and 2 women? And
I'm sure it'll be explained, but like with Bridesmaids, like that movie itself.
Never seen it, but
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. And it's going to be more relatable to females because it's Bridesmaids. And the only time a dude actually gets to be a bridesmaids is, one, if he's gay, or if he's like the girl's uber best friend that she's like, hey, be on my bridesmaid side.
Right. Put this dress on.
But
get your hair done already.
The movie itself, it's situational.
Yeah.
It's situational. And I can't say everybody's been in those kinds of situations, but everybody understands those situations. And so whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. It was so funny. And so I think it's the same thing with Ghostbusters. I mean, yeah, like growing up, there's all male ghosts is like it's all male cast. It's Ghostbusters. So yeah, the little boys are like, I want to be a Ghostbuster, and the girls are like, save me from. Are you the key maker?
Yeah,
it's like
Keymaster.
Keymaster. Sorry. There's only one black guy. Sorry. Ernie Hudson.
I think it's funny because you look back at the structure of original Ghostbusters, and I feel like it was. Like all the characters in there fit perfect into their different archetypes, right? Because even just the main four guys is you've got Venkman as the smartass, you've got Egon as the super nerd, you got Ray that kind of sits between the two of them, and then you've got Winston as the skeptic, right?
Yeah.
And I love that when he's doing his interview and he's just like, if there's a paycheck involved, I'll believe whatever you want. And then you've got, again, you kind of got the cynical Janine, and you've got the nerd in Rick Moranis. Yeah, I don't know. I guess not for nothing, but I feel like my question because I don't follow this stuff because it's been rumored for like a decade, right?
Yeah.
You just lose interest. It's like, oh, did you hear the latest news about that Akira movie they've been making for the last 40 fucking years?
That everybody quit because they realized it was going to be stupid.
Yep. But for me, I guess I look at this and I just go, why would you reboot Ghost? I can still put Ghostbusters on and it
works.
It's not like the special effects are so bad that they're outdated. It's not like the performances are outdated. You got old New York, but it's still New York and there's nothing super. I guess you got Larry King and Omni magazine, right? But it's not ridiculously outdated to the point where you can't enjoy it.
You
don't have nostalgia.
You got Bobby Brown.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, young Bobby Brown.
There is that. But I guess I've talked with a bunch of my film nerd people whenever this comes up. I feel like I'm on the same page as a lot of them that say, why reboot it when you could just go 20 years down the line and say, bring back all the old guys, and they're old now, and like they've been retired for years, and there's a new Ghost Menace happening, and so we got to go find some new young people,
blood.
Right? And so then you train them, and you make it like Rocky, right? I don't know if I can do this.
You do it the opposite of what Expendables 3 did.
Anyway, I think the greatest. Okay, for those of you who haven't seen it, I think that that Chris Pratt summed up my thoughts about the Expendables movies perfectly in that Parks and Recreation thing. Where it's like the Expendables 2. I watched it, I hated it. I watched it a second time, I hated it. I watched it a third time, it wasn't really that bad. And then I watched it a fourth time, and I hated it. It's just not a very good movie.
It's not. It isn't.
All right, this next one comes in from. Let's see, how much time we got left here? We got about 15 more minutes. This next one comes in from Anthony. He says, "Hey, Rage Select, how's it going? My name is Anthony Taylor, and this is my first time sending you guys a question. I just discovered your channel about a week ago. I started watching a lot of your videos, and I really enjoyed them enough for me to subscribe to your channel. But anyway, now for my question. So as a new person, I feel like we've over the last year, we had a thing where we're like, let's keep answering the same questions over and over again because you can never tell who's listening.
Right.
What are 3 of your favorite game series, and which game in those series is your favorite?
Okay.
For example, my favorite game series are Assassin's Creed, Resident Evil, and Batman Arkham games. Favorite game in each of those are Assassin's Creed Rogue, Resident Evil 4, and Batman Arkham Origins. Wow, I almost completely disagree with that list.
Wow.
That's my question for today, and you guys keep the good work and have an awesome day. I think I liked what I played of Assassin's Creed Rogue, but goddamn, I don't know how I can't put anything above Brotherhood, I don't think. That was probably my favorite of the series. I don't know. All right, so 3 franchises that you like and your favorite game from each franchise. I'm going to take the easy way out. I'll give you some time to think about it.
Go for it.
Dark Souls, Metal Gear, Mass Effect. I'll do Mass Effect.
Nice.
I'd probably think more about that third one, but Mass Effect 2, my favorite of the franchise, obviously. In Metal Gear, boy, that's a tough one. Probably Peace Walker. Even though I don't know, maybe Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 3. And then in Dark Souls is Dark Souls, original Dark Souls. And I'll count Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls still best of that franchise for me.
Okay. Onimusha,
Right.
Devil May Cry, Infamous.
Okay, and best.
Onimusha would be Onimusha 2 with Jubei Yagyu as the lead. For Devil May Cry 3,
Yeah.
hands down. And Infamous 2, Festival of Blood.
Ah, there you go. All right. Oh, you know what? Well, it's not a franchise. I was going to say, like, Jason always throws Red Dead out there, and I always forget. You know what? Scratch Mass Effect off the list. I'm going to put GTA in that list. And
Well, I hate to correct our boy Anthony, but Origins isn't in the Arkham's series. It's a completely different company because
I think it still counts, though, because it's called Arkham Origins.
I'm just going off of what Rocksteady says because Arkham City, there's Arkham Asylum,
Right.
Arkham City, and then Arkham Knight ends the trilogy. That's what they say.
Yeah.
So I'm just...
Yeah, I could. No, I definitely understand.
yeah.
I mean, it depends on whether or not you count just the games made by Rocksteady as
Right.
that, or all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, next one comes in from. Oh wait, and which GTA?
which GTA?
You know what? I really have a soft spot for GTA 4, in spite of a lot of the warts and stuff. But like,
America.
I think that Nico's story. I was actually saying to somebody before, I think that Nico's story is really interesting. I love how laid back Nico is, but if you've played all the way through 4, you'll know that like Nico's like you got people with guns in his faces. He's so
He does.
like, hey,
Yeah.
all right. You know, like the part with the Irish mob where they're like, "So are we gonna do this or do we got to kill you?" And he's like, "Well, we can put it that way." But there's a part in the middle of the game where the Roman gets kidnapped. Right, his cousin gets kidnapped. And like he goes from calm, collected Nico, just like where the fuck? Like he turns into Batman.
Because
wasn't
Nico Ukrainian or what was he?
He was. It was definitely. I don't know
European,
subsections of Russia, but it's definitely Eastern European. Right?
Yes, you don't fuck with him. You don't fuck with those guys.
But you know what? There's a thing. Okay, so if you haven't played GTA 4, and I'm going to be real vague about this, but this could maybe kind of a spoiler. Did you beat GTA 4?
I did.
Okay.
Actually.
What I found most fascinating that nobody ever talked about for GTA 4, nobody ever like held it up in an era where these sorts of things were interesting, was that GTA 4 asks you almost at the end of the game to tell you which of these two people you like better.
Correct.
And then the game uses that information against you. And I was like, holy shit, that's so smart, right? Because it spends the entire time building you up to this question, and then the game is just like, well, what do you think? And you're like, oh, I like that person. It's like, great. And that I never feel like anybody ever, I mean, even GTA 5 didn't have a choice or anything like that at the end. So I really like GTA 4, and I like the DLC for it as well. I thought Lost in the Damned was fun. I thought Ballad of Gay Tony was really fun as well. So I'll put GTA 4 up there, but goddamn GTA 5 is good. All right. We got time for just a couple more here. First up, from Mr. Watson. Hey, Jeff and Aaron. What are some ways I can do to improve my vocabulary? I'm sorry, they just read that verbatim. What are some ways that I can improve my vocabulary? I'm about to graduate college, and yet I still feel kind of dumb when talking to my friends and peers about anything. I sometimes cannot convey my thoughts in a clear way because my vocabulary is lacking, thus making me appear uneducated. Thanks for everything the Rage Select family does. Q. Watson. Well, so I don't know. I don't know what your situation is, Quentin. My father is a master's of English, and so he just talks like I do. So if you can go back in time and get my dad to be your dad, I mean, that would work.
I was actually a really weird kid. I would read the dictionary.
Okay.
I can't say it had any effect, but it helped words. I also have an eidetic memory, so if I was just like, oh, I'm trying to say this, and I'd see I'd actually see the definition in my head, and the word would pop up. And
okay.
And so it's really weird. That's a whole nother podcast. Trust me. But read.
Yeah, that's when I thought about this question when it came in, my general answer was go find literature that is out of your wheelhouse, not pulp stuff, but like really wordy, dense stuff, or go find something highfalutin like the New Yorker or publication where you know that they have a big vocabulary, and then read it, and then stop and go look stuff up if you don't understand.
If there's a word you don't understand, hey man, we're in the future. I hope you got a smartphone. You use the computer to send this, or you use your phone. Well, it doesn't matter. Look up whatever word doesn't gel with you. Look it up, and then that's when you can be like, oh, that's what that means. And here's the challenge that you can put on yourself: find a way to use that word in just one conversation.
Yep, I'm sure that if you there's probably crazy enough people there, but like if you went back and listened to the podcasts that I've been on, there's certain things I'll end up subconsciously hooking onto a word and then using it a whole bunch of times. You know, so yeah, if you can find a word that means something more specific, that's the great thing about having a big vocabulary, is that there's a specificity that you can have with what you're saying, is that you can not just like happy, but like the specific,
elated,
right? So yeah, I don't know. Hope that helps. Also, no, I think reading is probably just the best answer. I mean, I was like, you could get word a day calendar, but I feel like that's just going to go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
All right. Next one comes in from Dan David. And then we got another real quick one, and then we'll be done. All right. So Dan says, hey, Jeff and Aaron. 2 quick questions. First of all, I had a truly shitty New Year's Eve due to a $100 party filled with watered-down drinks, nasty food, boring people, and crappy music. Yeesh.
Did you get a kiss at least?
Can you please give my misery company and share your shitty New Year's Eve stories? We'll get back to that. Do you have one?
I actually don't.
I'm trying to think. I mean, like, I have boring New Year's Eve stories.
I mean, I used to work in a bar every New Year's. That was never boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see. This is last year. The other problem is that there's about 2/3 of every New Year's Eve that's just kind of gone. For some reason. I don't know where it went.
I can remember all of mine, but they weren't boring because I did exactly what I wanted to do at that time.
Yeah, I don't know that I have any. I can tell you that one time I paid like $75 to a ticket to go to the Austin Convention Center with some friends for Carnival, and that was garbage. Like, just the worst. That was way too expensive beers. And a bunch of people that
naked
dancing, but they weren't naked. They weren't naked, and I was like, I thought
and if they were, they shouldn't have been.
Right?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of Carnival.
Yeah, I can think there's plenty of. I mean, one time I went down to 6th Street for Mardi Gras. Never again. That's a creepy ass scene right there. Just hives of men just in a circle around this one woman who's got one boob out, and you're just like,
and pelt her with beads.
So, sorry about that, Dan, but the second question here, it says, I also went a bit crazy with Black Friday shopping, and it only got crazier with Christmas gifts. I got the following games and need advice on which to play/finish first, if you have time, of course. So I'm going to list this off once we get done here. How long will this take me? Shit. I don't know. Clay Davis. May the mighty Dong Lord grant you with powerful girth and longevity for the new year, Dan David. And so here is the list of games. GTA 5, more than halfway through. Red Dead Redemption, almost done. Dishonored, Game of the Year. Saints Row 5, I think it's got to be Saints Row 4, Game of the Year. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Diablo 3, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Fear, Dead Space, Evil Within. I'd say finish GTA 5 and Red Dead if you're already into them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wipe those off. So Dishonored, Saints Row 4, Black Flag, Diablo 3, Uncharted, Fear, Dead Space, Evil Within. I'm going to say Saints Row 4 on that one.
Yeah, Saints Row 4.
And then Black Flag is a hell of a game.
It's not. If he's looking for which ones he needs to finish first, by popularity or just finish first because he can do that.
Just your opinion.
I'd say Saints Row, Uncharted.
But see, I would save Uncharted for last because it's all 3 Uncharted games. Right? Uncharted 1 through 3.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, you got to wait on. That's a marathon.
Yeah.
Saints Row.
Diablo 3 will beat itself once you start playing it. Diablo 3 will just eat your time until it's gone.
Black Flag, Fear, because Fear actually isn't that long of a game.
Yeah, you could probably finish that in what, like 6 hours?
Yeah, it's the first one. Yeah.
Dead Space is about 8 hours.
8 hours. And Evil Within.
That's way long game.
Yeah, that's really.
That's one thing I really hope happens in 2015, Aaron, is I feel like there were a lot of games in 2014 that were way too long.
Yeah.
Like Far Cry 4, I understand what you're doing, but the fact that it took me like 17 hours to beat it and I was like at 50% completion, just go, I don't care about liberating anymore. Anything. Like, you guys do it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Saints Row. I think Saints Row is a good way to start. Diablo 3, well, I don't know. I'd say Saints Row 4, and then maybe go to something that's not open world. That's not Dishonored, not Black Flag. So I'd probably put Diablo after that.
Yeah.
And then maybe go back to either Dishonored or Black Flag, and then, I don't know, roll the dice on the rest of them. All right, one final question. This one comes in from Tony. Tony says, Dear Jeff and Aaron, Tony here. I was wondering why you guys don't try a Kickstart or crowdfund for E3 this year. I would definitely kick a couple $100 towards it. I loved content and coverage you and Jason provided the last time you guys went. This year looks to be a whole lot better than last, and I would love to hear my news coverage on it from you all. Stay classy, Tony. So, Tony, the real question at this point is whether we're going to get to go to E3, because last year we wanted to, and we didn't. So if the applications come up pretty soon, and when we put them in, we'll see. And I think we're going to try to apply for 2 folks this year. And if we do that, then we'll probably do some kind of fundraiser. I mean, we also, I could really use a new camera. Aaron, and I just broke my couch yesterday. Fucking hell.
Things get crazy here at Rage Select, folks.
Yep.
We got to upgrade some stuff first.
The red couch might have to go away soon. Or I don't know.
We're going to be sitting on stools and our asses would hurt.
I do have the world's most uncomfortable stools over there.
I've sat on it before.
They are shitty, man. I don't know how just a piece of wood can be. Ugh.
Because it's not pliable.
Anyway, yeah, I also want to finish up the taxes and kind of budget out for this year and see if I can't, write people more paychecks. Anyway. That's our show for this week. Aaron, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for always having me, man. I love it.
mail@rageselect.com is the email address. Sending your questions. I'm not going to prompt you for them at this point unless we come up with just like 0 questions. And we'll be back next Sunday with another podcast. Stay tuned tomorrow for a new episode of The Dojo right here on Rage Select.